January the 28th. We have 4 games, not a very busy day, not a very busy night. Still some injury news. We're still waiting on some updates from teams as well. And we have Utah and Portland playing, so we may not actually know their lineups until 5 minutes just before tip-off. But we'll see how we go. Let's get into everything. This is the Tuesday pregame show. Let's go balls deep.
I'm the type to get shit done. You the type to observe. March Madness on my speakers, but today's November 23rd. Got something loud in the blunt, yeah. I don't say what I want, yeah. Probably somewhere sunny getting tan. Foreign women in the sun, yeah. That's all that I need. That's all that I need. That's all that I need. Got my brothers with me. Got my brothers with me, and my mama's healthy. That's all that I need.
Welcome to the Balls Deep podcast, brought to you by Fantasy Basketball International. I'm Adam King. Find me on Twitter and Blue Sky at AdamKing91. Find us on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, anywhere, everywhere you consume fantasy basketball content. We are proudly part of the Old Man Squad network at Old Man Squad on Twitter. 4 games, no real injury news. Often I wake up and there's some breaking news or updates on players. Hoping for a Jalen Johnson update. We still don't have one. What the hell's going on there? Who knows? They must be walking him to a hospital to get some scans, or God, I don't know why it's taking this long. So yeah, nothing really. I mean, we'll cover the game stuff when we get to the games. And let's just get into them, because I was just scrolling through player news and there really is not much, which is not necessarily a bad thing. Okay, first game. Another early game for the Lakers. They are at Philadelphia. For the Lakers, Jared Vanderbilt is out back-to-back, nothing more, nothing less. He's only been sort of a borderline streamer anyway. The big names, Anthony Davis, LeBron James, both probable to play on the second night of a back-to-back. So cross our fingers, they do play. This is not to say that up against a Philly team with basically Tyrese Maxey and Kelly Oubre, I suppose, the Lakers may think that they could run without one of LeBron James or Anthony Davis. I wouldn't count on it. If I were a Laker fan, I would want them both out there. So we'll see. But at the moment, both probable to play. Rui Hachimura also probable to return, from his absence. There's not much in the way of streaming here. If Hachimura plays, I guess you could look at him for points. Max Christie's been a little bit down over the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks. He's okay today. 4 games. There's streaming opportunities, so have a look at him if he's available. Beyond that, not too much. I mean, Dorian Finney-Smith has been better, but he's not doing enough to be rosterable or barely even stream-worthy. For the Sixers, though, there is some streaming value here with no Joel Embiid, no Paul George, no Andre Drummond, no Caleb Martin, no KJ Martin, and Jared McCain, of course. Yabusele, probable. So he is obviously someone we need to be rostering. If for some reason he doesn't play, who knows, with Philly, then we would look at a Dembona probably coming in. Maxey he'll have to go off again. Kelly Oubre will have to play very well. Eric Gordon, I mean, he's been hitting threes. He's pretty boring. I'm not really that excited. I'd rather take a flyer on Ricky Council or Justin Edwards. Edwards is probably slightly safer. Council was out of the rotation, I think, 1 or 2 games ago. But with no Paul George there, they're going to have to play him, you would think. They do not want to have to roll out Kyle Lowry or Reggie Jackson for more than about 15 minutes. So Council and Edwards are our targets there. Second game of the night, Houston at Atlanta. For the Rockets, no Tari Eason. Again, second night of a back-to-back. Nothing more, nothing less. Cam Whitmore, questionable to return from his illness. Yeah, look, I mean, Jay Sean Tate's going to have to play a bit more with no Tari Eason, but doesn't really do enough most nights to be rostered. Cam Whitmore would be the guy we'd look at here. Coming off an illness, he should be good to go if he plays. There shouldn't be too much of a restriction on him. He doesn't play 30 minutes anyway, but if you can get 22, 24 minutes from him, he is okay for points. And look, Steven Adams, if you need rebounds, they're up against a Kongwu, Clint Capella, a bit of size there. So Adams could play 15 minutes and grab you 9 rebounds. Maybe he lucks into a steal or a block and gets you 4 or 6 points on 100% from the field. We will see. For the Hawks, some updates there. Larry Nance is off the injury report. Dyson Daniels is off the injury report. Bogdan Bogdanovic also playing. So it would appear that their absences last night were just precautionary as we had hoped. Trey Young, however, he is questionable. So dealing with a bit of a hamstring here, they would probably love to have him out there, as would I. But we'll have to wait and see. Closer to tip-off, they are the opening game in terms of time slots tonight, so we should know before lineups lock. Make sure you've got Dyson Daniels off your IR spot if you moved him there yesterday. Vit Krejci, we're just holding him, rolling with him. Even though Reece Shea is back, DeAndre Hunter's back, we still don't have a Jalen Johnson update as we've talked about. So I still think Krejci will play 26 plus minutes. It wasn't great last night, but yeah, if you've picked him up, you have to hold him, give him at least a few games to get back on track. Okongwu, again, not great last night. He'll be better. DeAndre Hunter had 35 points. So, yeah, I think you roll him out. I mean, I know he's only really a one-trick pony, but yeah, he was good last night. Let's see if he can continue that. He had been in a bit of a slump, so it was good to see. Larry Nance, I get questions about him all the time. Are we adding him? I've said I don't think so. I know he did start his first game back. That was more of a situational thing, I think. So I believe he'll probably just come off the bench and play 15, 18 minutes. Deeper leagues, you could stream him in, but he would need an injury to Clint Capella or Okongwu, or to a lesser extent, Reece Shea, to be able to step into, I think, start-worthy minutes. Milwaukee head to Portland. So we've got a pretty big gap between games tonight. For the Bucks, Giannis, not on the injury report at the moment. Doesn't mean he won't be added to it, especially against Portland. Middleton is doubtful, second night of a back-to-back. Bobby Portis questionable to return. AJ Green also questionable. So, look, I mean, Dame's playing. Giannis is at this point playing. Lopez is playing. So there's not a ton of value here. Bobby Portis is probably rostered. If he was dropped because he's missed games, you could give him a look tonight. Gary Trent, who had been playing relatively well prior to last night, he might be worth a look if you need threes. The return of AJ Green would cut into his opportunities a little bit, though. And we're obviously not that interested in Taurean Prince or Andre Jackson. Look, Prince could get lucky against a team like Portland. So if you're very desperate, he'll at least have the opportunity to fire up some threes. So you could give him a look. But as I said, you'd have to be pretty desperate. Portland. Okay, so DeAndre Ayton, questionable. I don't know. Well, the knee sprain, obviously, as I said, that was a lie because you do not return in a week from a knee sprain. If he plays, we would assume he starts, but we don't know that, whether they have flipped that switch and they're now starting Donovan Clingan. No indication that is happening, but keep an eye on it if he does play. So who are we rostering? Who are we not rostering? Simons, Kamara, Avdia, Grant have to be rostered. Ayton still has to be rostered, sadly. Then we've got our sort of fringy probably rostering, but not necessarily. Scoot Henderson, Shaden Sharp, Donovan Clingan fit that bill. Scoot, I've talked about him. I think he's a must roster, but I know he isn't rostered everywhere. He was good in the last game. He was not good in the 2 prior to that. So, yeah, I understand it, but I'm holding him. Donovan Clingan, he gets rebounds. I mean, he's a good defensive presence. Doesn't always translate to blocks, but he'll generally get you at least 1 or 2. The offense is really, really raw at the moment. So, look, he can be rostered. He's a bit of a specialist. I do think he plays more minutes as we move forward. So he's certainly not for everyone, but probably should be rostered by at least one team in a standard league. And Shaden Sharp, who's been pretty underwhelming the last couple of weeks, he probably is a hold as well. It's hard to get a read on what they want to do here, whether they are looking to move Anthony Simons as well as Jeremy Grant, as well as DeAndre Ayton, and prioritise Shaden Sharp. There's no indication that they're prioritising him or Scoot Henderson yet, but I do think they are probably the 2 that they're looking at as their backcourt moving forward. But yeah, it's Portland. So trust what you will. Utah at Golden State. Speaking of teams that we don't trust, Utah, Colin Sexton, questionable. John Collins, questionable. Walker Kessler, questionable. Jordan Clarkson, doubtful. Lauri Markkanen, doubtful. Right. So Isaiah Collier, look, he's arguably the most trustworthy guy on this team at the moment, which is pretty scary to say. So make sure he's rostered. Keontae George is probably pretty trustworthy. If he doesn't pop up on the injury report, I'm probably going to go and add him in a league very soon. I just don't want to waste a move in case he's a late addition. Kessler was out with what they call a shoulder injury, but we know that he's not really injured. Well, we don't know that. We assume that. If he returns, Drew Eubanks can be dropped. If Collins is back, he basically just slides into the Lauri Markkanen role. Svi Mikhailuk can give you some threes if he's playing enough minutes, so he could be streamed in tonight. Bryce Sensabaugh had a good offensive night last night, but the minutes still aren't super encouraging. Again, give him a look if you want to. It's the situation here in Utah, much like Portland to some extent, but Brooklyn, they're basically mirroring each other at the moment with changing their lineups, ruling people out. It's hard to know. But there's streaming value here. Wait as long as you can and just see if we can get some updates. For the Warriors, no Jonathan Kuminga, no Draymond Green. They are both trending in the right direction, supposedly, but going to miss at least a week, I think. Trace Jackson-Davis, who has been starting but hasn't been playing well, I don't think we need to be rostering him at this point, but you can stream him in tonight. Podziemski has been better since returning, so maybe you give him a look. They're on a back-to-back as well, I believe, so these guys have a little bump in value given they play tomorrow, but check your rosters for tomorrow because I think we have 11 games. So there's a chance that someone like a Podziemski, although he's on a back-to-back, he might not be in your best 8 or 9 players tomorrow. We don't need Gary Payton. Don't need Buddy Hield. Schroeder. Again, this Warriors team, not really like Utah because they're not ruling people out. They're not questionable, probable, doubtful, out, in. They just have depth and the rotations change based on how Steve Kerr wakes up in the morning. I don't know. There's no pattern to this. So Quentin Post, Moses Moody, Guy Santos, Dennis Schroeder, Brandon Podziemski, Gary Payton, Buddy Hield, Kevon Looney, Lindy Waters is there as well. I mean, any one of these guys could play 25 minutes tonight or they could play 9 minutes. We just don't know. So feel free to just pick one out of a hat and go with it. whoever suits your statistical needs the best, I suppose, is one way to look at it. All right, quick questions. Vion Lynn Hall, let's go Kingy, let's go Vion. Thank you for watching along. And Matt Carmody here as always. Good to see you in the show. Maddie G, probably been awake for about 4 hours with his new baby. Send him a message on Twitter if you want to congratulate him or sympathise with him, whichever way you want to look at it. I'm sure life is pretty hectic in the G household. Edwards or Council with PG out in deeper leagues? Yes, I think Edwards and Council are both worth a look. Not even in deeper necessarily, just in standard leagues. If you've got a streaming spot, I'd go Edwards over Council, I think, but both are worth considering. Joseph Kim, do I think Io Dosunmu is going to remain in the starting lineup, or is Pat Will going to take back his starting spot? I don't know. It was an interesting decision. I hope that Io Dosunmu remains in the starting lineup because you do not need Patrick Williams starting, but this is the Bulls. I think if you picked up Io yesterday, you just hold him and see. We'll know in the next game if they go this same path or do they move Pat Will back. Time will tell. Gurkham, why didn't Bogdan play yesterday? I think it's just the ongoing issues with him. I don't think this is a new injury or anything like that. I think it's just rest management. His legs are pretty banged up, knees and that sort of thing. So it was just a back-to-back situation. What do I think of PG's value right now and rest of season? It's pretty low. If you're looking to acquire him, you could do that. You could, you could look at him as a buy low at the moment with the injuries, but it's risky. The Sixers are going nowhere, and they're going nowhere fast. I think per game, he's still like a third round player, probably. Top 30, top 40. I would not be offering a top 30 player to get him, mainly because I just don't think, if we look at games played, most players in that range will play majority of remaining games. I don't see him doing that. So, yeah, I think per game he's still decent enough, but I'm not actively going out trying to get him with the way they're trending. Matt says, revenge game in Portland, if you believe in that sort of thing. No, look, I don't really believe it, but look, maybe. He should play well. I mean, it's Portland. Nothing, whether he, not factoring in that he played for Portland or not, he should play well against Portland. They're not a good team. Matt W., you have been offered Claxton and Lowry for Monk in a points league. Thoughts on the trade offer? Our final start in 2 weeks and you're locked in. I probably wouldn't. I mean, of the three of those, I'm thinking Monk is probably the best player. I'd have to go and check points league settings and things like that. Lowry, I have no confidence that he's going to play in a lot of games. If your finals start in 2 weeks, that means they're starting post All-Star break, at which point, who knows? And Claxton, much the same. I don't know. I mean, he's been disappointing to start with. I think I'd rather just hold Monk and use the other spot to stream. Steve, can't wait to draft quickly. 158. He's going to be available at a discount, I think, unless if he comes back, well, either now or after the All-Star break and puts up top 50 value for a month, then he probably won't be as much of a discount. But currently, as we stand, yes, I think he will be a nice value pick. Shining Knight. Would I drop anyone here for Brown? Christian Brown. Goga, Vassell, Beal. No, I wouldn't. No, I know Brown has been really good lately, but he's shooting like 70% from the field or something ridiculous. But he's not doing anything else. He's just scoring. He's not a 70% shooter. Let's be honest. I know he's been very good, but no, I think I would hold those three over him. I know it's hard when when you see someone like that sitting on waivers and you want to grab them and cash in, but at the expense of Vassell, who I think should be pretty good rest of season. Beal, Beal hasn't been great. I would wait though until trade deadline to see if he's moved. And Goga, I don't know, was encouraging enough last night that I think we have to hold him. Joseph Kim has, well, you think you have too many centres. It's not possible to have too many centres. 6 out of 13. How would I order these players? Kalel Ware, Goga, Pirtle, Jarrett Allen, Nick Richards, AD. Well, AD is obviously number one. I'd probably have Richards last. So AD first, Richards last. Where's a tough one because am I valuing what I think he can be, or he has the greatest potential fluctuation. He could be top 40, he could be top 100. So that's a tough one. Jakob Pirtle, look, he's pretty safe. Jarrett Allen's pretty safe as well. So if you're looking for safety here, I'd probably go AD, Jarrett Allen, Jakob Pirtle, Kalel Ware, Goga, Richards. If you're a little bit more risky, then I think you could go AD, maybe Ware. I'd have Goga second from last behind Richards, and then those other three, Pirtle, Allen, and Ware, pretty close. I think you could sort of shuffle them around a little bit based on need. I guess Pirtle you could look at as a slight shutdown risk playing in Toronto, where Jarrett Allen obviously isn't a shutdown risk. And Kalel, where to me, Miami just don't have it in them to tank. So I think he's fairly safe. So I don't know if that helps. Maybe it does. Steve says Lowry is less than a waiver guy in ESPN points this year. Okay, well, there you go. If that's true, then I would hold Monk. Shining Knight also has quickly, but you will hold him to the bitter end. Go down with the ship, as they say. Okay, so where is power forward eligible on Yahoo? That is pretty key and important to know because Anthony Davis is also forward eligible, but Allen is not, Pirtle is not, Goga is not, Richards is not. So, yeah, look, if you are looking for a bit of flexibility in terms of positions, then that might give Ware a bump there or a little nose in front in this situation. So good to know. All right, that's all the questions, I think. So I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to go and make my coffee. Now I think we're probably just recording. I'm doing a show with Dan in about half an hour, but I don't think he does them live. I think we'll just be recording it, but it'll come out later today, I would assume. It's a stash deadline show or something. I think I've got some names to talk about. And then, as I said, tomorrow, another pre-game show, and I'll be on the Roto World show with Noah and Raf tomorrow. The next day, I'll be doing live mailbag with Josh, as well as my show. Next day, I'll be doing trade talk with Noah, I think, as well as my normal show. And the post-game shows will be coming out. So plenty of content, 3 shows a day for the next 4 days, I want to say. That'll be fun. All right, time for a half-hour break. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. If you're listening to this later, please do go and download it and do all of the stuff that we ask of you. It's hopefully not too much of an arduous task. I will be back. Thank you, everyone. I'm Adam King. This has been the Balls Deep pre-game show. Until next time, catch ya.
You just listened to another episode from the Fantasy Basketball International Podcast Network. Thanks for joining us. And for more information about joining our community, please check out our website at FBIBasketball.com.